Welcome to the first ever virtual Melbourne Art Festival, made possible, of course, by COVID-19 and our tragic pandemic that we have to go through. Of course, right now would be the start of the Melbourne Art Festival. You'd all be walking around in the beautiful limited sunshine we have this morning. We're here today with Johanna Gant. She's actually the president of the Melbourne Art Festival, as well as the chair for the Artist Committee. Johanna, thank you for joining us this morning. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm thinking to myself, if we were at the park, I wouldn't even have this opportunity to sit down and talk. It would be so crazy, because it usually is.
Let's talk about that. It was horrible rain yesterday. It's going to rain this afternoon also, probably. Maybe even a little bit of rain tomorrow. What would it have been like to actually set up yesterday to try to get all the tents that we needed to put up, and all of the platforms and the lights and the electricity and the water, and then the artists having to bring them in downpouring rain? What would that have been like?
I can't imagine. Number one, I haven't actually, in all my years of volunteering, had to deal with that yet. Thank goodness. I know that the majority of the production work would have already been completed. The artist, on the other hand, trying to do the setup, trying to mark the spaces for them, would have been washed away. It would have been chaos and mayhem and complete frustration. And I believe that there's just a reason that we're not going there today.
I didn't want to go down that road, but I agree. It's been, I looked at the rain yesterday and thought, because I would have been out there helping you for the first time. And I can't believe it. It would have been just slogging through and just miserable, but we would have had to do it.
And the artists would have been setting up in the grass areas, those artists, and possibility that there would have been puddles and puddles of water where their tents would be. And I can't imagine them wanting to even be part of that at that point. Not that we have any control over it, but just Mother Nature in her own. And they're really strong-willed people, these artists. They're awesome. They're amazing. They've trudged through some really bad storms at other events, and this would have been the first one for our event had we had to have this event yesterday starting the setup. So
I put it out there to on the Facebook page and the group and some of the and the event, and asking whether anybody ever remembers rain like this. I've been going there for 20 years. I've been a patron for close to 20 years, and I just don't remember any rain. It's usually hot. Matter of fact, I think it was you who told me that this is normally the first weekend that the temperature hits 90 degrees, typically.
Yeah, all the events that I've helped with and volunteered with over the last 13, 14 years I've been involved have been really nice evening skies with beautiful sunsets as the artists are setting up. And then the weekend of the festival, if there had been a shower, I think one Easter when we had the event, it rained for about 20 minutes late in the afternoon. And that was the only time I remember rain during the festival. And everyone scattered for about an hour. They all came back. It was not an issue because it was just a passing storm. What we had last night was a deluge, and it would have just really, everybody would have wanted to set up this morning, and that in itself would have caused even more chaos, and then complaints from the artists because their sites had too much water on them. We see the ants would have, of course, come up out of the ground trying to find some dry space, and the four rangers at the park would have been going crazy trying to. You can't mitigate all those situations. So I think that, it's because of COVID, we can blame that we didn't have the festival. And, we can just be thankful that everyone is still healthy and safe and at home doing what we're supposed to do, just like you and I, social distancing. And we'll be there next year. It's not going to be forever. And we'll just always have to stay safe and vigilant in our health and welfare of ourselves and others.
So instead of me getting my 20,000 Fitbit steps today, we're sitting here drinking coffee, chatting about the art festival and art festivals past. I've got my slippers in the background, my wife's slippers actually, because that's what we're doing. Just relaxing. Although we will be going out today at 2 o'clock to do a drive-by.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that. That was your idea. Thank you.
Oh, I keep seeing all these things on Facebook where friends and family members, are trying to get together for baby showers, birthday parties, and these drive-bys are a big hit on the Facebook that I see. And it just means so much to the people that are in receipt of those, because you can't get that interaction with anybody right now other than on, the computers, the Zoom applications, and different conference calls. But it just, if everyone comes out at 2 o'clock and shows their support, our community as well as our committee members, it'll just keep this feeling going of, we will recover, we will move on. And even though the show's been canceled, we are making it happen, you specifically, by with all of your computer genius to get us in the right direction, keep the artist interest going. So, oh my goodness, look at that. It's gorgeous. So we, go out there and drive by. We'll have some of my flamingos, the floats, hanging out, and we will have balloons, and so people can see us and wave at us, honk, and that's the best way we can social distance and still be together, I think. That
And
is
so
amazing.
we're going to do that at 2 o'clock, and
Beautiful.
probably stage a little earlier. Get out there 1:30, 1:45, drive around, and then stage. And then where will you be? Where will you be setting up the flamingo?
I want to be on the west side of the lake, just after the turn that you would take a left to go around the back side and go north.
Awesome, awesome.
It won't be able
So
to miss
everybody
me.
can honk right around there. We'll have another Facebook live here recording, and that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a
I
lot of
think so
fun.
too.
Also scheduled for today, we have plenty of artists on tap for today. We have our first artist post coming up at 10 with Jennifer Peck, and an artist interview with our current commemorative poster artist who became the poster artist for next year, Michael Bullock. We'll have a nice interview with him coming up this afternoon, as well as other artist posts by Don David and Molly Pierce and plenty of others. Tonight at 5, hopefully we'll have a recording from Saks West. One of the new things that we were planning, of course, this year was to have live entertainment at the food court area. It's going to be quite exciting. Instead of a band, we're going to have a single or a duo, and then they could play while people were eating and having a couple of beverages, in a nice relaxed, shaded atmosphere. And of course, we didn't get to do that this year. So one of those was Rob, and with Saks West. So he's going to play his saxophone for us this evening at 5 o'clock. That's pretty exciting. And tomorrow we have another live appearance with Anna and the Wild Things from the Kids World. We're going to highlight some of the things we did in previous Kids Worlds, and she's been an entertainer for the kids on the Kids World stage for a few years, and so she volunteered to do a live thing for us also. So that's exciting. Speaking of the Kids World, tell us about the history of the art festival and how we are involved with kids and students, and it's a family activity.
Yeah. Okay. Originally, when this art festival began, it was a pretty small show over in Atlantic for a couple of years. The larger it got, we moved to downtown Melbourne. I'm sure there was some politics involved there, but one of the reasons moving to downtown Melbourne was to help with the redevelopment of that community. We, of course, succeeded very well to the point where we had to move to Wicker Park in 2017 due to the fact that space constraints. There was just so much business down there that it was impossible for parking, for artists to, show their art effectively. Now with the construction of new condos and hotels, it's really a great venue for a small event, but our event, we didn't want to bring it down to a smaller event. We wanted to stay the same. So the park was the best option. I feel that the park has been wonderful to us. The rangers, the administrators out there are just so giving and conceding. They really care about what we've got going on. They take really good care of us. And then the artists have the ability to park close to their spaces, unloading, setting up, as well as for the visitors. They have free parking, and it's a little bit of a trek in, but I think that we're all up to those 20,000 steps a day. And it just really seems to be a great option for a festival. We can do the Kids World activities in an open space in the grassy area at Wickham Park. We have so many different entertainers that Debbie Featherston, that committee chair, sets up and organizes. Plus we have the craft section that they need the volunteers every year to come back and help put out the supplies and help the children create the art. And this is to get them interested with hands-on activities so that they find something that makes them have a little passion and continue their education in the art. Our student art competition that we did not have this year because of the festival canceling allows for our students in the community to actually enter a piece of their original art. We have it judged, and then we have an open showing to all of the visitors of the winners and all of the applicants that have put their work there. We give about it's either $15,000 or $2,000 worth of prize money to the students for their artwork that wins. And then we have our student art workshops. Those workshops are manned by volunteers from the artists. They volunteer to teach their mediums to the students. This also is a great way for kids to have hands-on with real art, not crafts, to expand their artistic development, as well as encourage them to possibly take art classes with some of these local artists in our community. Because we want to give back to our community by supporting our local artists and our students that have ambitions and desires to become artists.
You're in a unique position as the artist chair as well as the president to know the struggles that artists are going through. Earlier on the slideshow, we showed some of the award-winning art. These artists are juried in. It's not an easy thing. You get more artists every year than we can accept, and it's a struggle for them even getting into the fair. Getting here, setting up would have been a nightmare last night. Talk to us about the troubles that you're hearing from your artists about what they're going through right now with all the shows canceled.
Oh my goodness. This is their livelihood for the most of them. They make their art and they bring it out to show it to different venues so that visitors like the ones you see on the screen can purchase. Without these fairs, there is no other venue for them to sell, exhibit, and make their money. A lot of them, this is the only income that they have. For others, it's a hobby on the side, but it's still an income that they are not getting, because prior to our show canceling, there was other shows as of, what was it, the 13th of March. There was a few shows down south. Look at you.
That's me in the front of
And
the
your
art that we
lovely
purchased last year.
Gorgeous. So they haven't been making money. They haven't been selling their art. They haven't been, I want to say some of them have even stopped creating because they've just gotten to a slump. My concern is that we need them to create. I want to encourage them to create. So having this virtual art festival, and hopefully others will take our lead and do the same for them, so that they can, motivate themselves to doing the incredible things that they've been doing. Because there is a future. We will have the show again, and other shows will be coming online, and people will start going out and doing these things. I know their show circuit usually starts September, October, so hopefully everything will be in a better situation by then. That's hoping, praying that, this all gets under control and we all stay well and healthy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we really aren't out too much money. There was some hard expenses that we had to do, advertising that we'd already signed up for in a couple contracts. But it's difficult for us too. It's our fundraiser of the year. Obviously, we also do an auction later on in the fall that we hope to be able to still do here. But talk about the art festival and what it was like to us and the committee and yourself and the board of directors to have to go through this cancellation.
Oh, I can only speak for myself that I was so disheartened and disappointed. We as a committee worked so hard all year long to get all of these pieces together to make this event happen. When we had to cancel, it was like being chopped off at the knees for me. Lost all, meeting ability other than you at coming up with the Zoom. It just, it was very defeating. And we were clicking right along. I feel that this would have been the best organized event, with everybody pitching in, everybody working hard to get their things taken care of, checking all the boxes, making sure all the events were scheduled, and it was entertainment was ready to be booked and paid for the kids world as well as for our live entertainment stage. And it was grinding halt, stop, don't go past go, don't collect your $200. To me it still hurts because you live, eat, and breathe, this volunteer life. It means so much. It's bigger than you are. So giving yourself to it, as I do, enthusiastically, I got to find a different venue, to express myself, to get out there and be part of something. So by doing the virtual, it's given me a lot more time to reflect on what we can do better for next year, knowing that we have the good volunteers in place to make that happen, just trying to reconnect and keep connected with those artists as well as the volunteers on our committee. We can move forward, and we will, but it's just hard looking at these pictures of my flamingos upside down in the lake.
Is that you? Is that you
That
on the
is
canoe?
me in the lake, yes. And I have so much fun doing that, and not doing that this year, it almost brings tears to my eyes because, again, this is my favorite festival for over 30 years. I always took my children when they were little so they could get out there and play in the kids' world, and it was smaller back then, but we always had a good time looking at art and wandering around, seeing friends that we hadn't seen in a long time, and just knowing that this year that's not going to happen. So the drive-by for me is going to be a great way to have a connection with them still, and doing this virtual event is the only thing that's really keeping me from sitting on my couch and crying for the next 3 days.
Exactly. I know making the video for the patrons party, which would have been Thursday night at Lexus of Melbourne. It was a great event last year. I know you weren't able to attend last year, but it was just a lot of fun. We had open bars. We had a bunch of restaurants serving a lot of food.
The
We
music
actually
was awesome.
We had too much Jenna's pizza. People were able to take home a pizza pie. A couple of people were able to take home an entire pizza. That'd be me. But the whole event was great. Absolute Blue was on there. And I know when I was making the video for Thursday night, which is available to watch on our website, it did bring tears to my eyes. And now knowing that, I should be in the patrons tent right now, getting my tickets and my certificates so I can go out and buy some beautiful art, and filling up my first beer. Well, maybe not quite this early, but in a few minutes, filling up my first beer and then going around taking pictures and having fun. I miss it. I miss it terribly.
Me too. Oh,
But
and
we
these
will
pictures
survive.
are amazing though, because as we're going through them, I know exactly where these artists are. I know exactly who they are, for the most part, and there's nothing that makes me happier than to see, them out on the out on the street, to see their beautiful work, to see their smiling faces, the volunteers' smiling faces. It's just it's wonderful to see all the visitors come through, and just know that, you know, we're doing this to provide, you know, an extra curricular activity for our community, so they can look at this art. This guy that does the art that smiles, he is amazing. I've got a few of those things for my grandkids, and you know, I run around the whole park a couple of times and then go back and buy stuff. So this year I'm going to buy virtually online. I've already gotten 2 pieces. So I encourage everyone to check out your favorite artist and support them. Buy some art. You know, they're actually having sales, some of them, to bring in, you know, the business, and they really appreciate what we're doing too. Look at Elise. I miss our shirts, you know. We didn't even get shirts this year.
That's right. We didn't get shirts, having to wear the old shirts.
Yeah, but we do have them available online.
Yes.
Our girl April, she's done judges for the last 10 years. She was on the board at one point, a couple of terms when I was first starting. And she has her own business over in Orlando. She got out of the cubicle and she started her own. She does doggy daycare and swim lessons and different things like that for dogs. She loves it. She is really a happy entrepreneur now, and she still volunteers. This has been part of her life. She put a post on Facebook about, you know, her time with the art festival and how she feels about all this, you know, cancellation, but she had such a great time putting together those shirts for us. So I hope that everyone looks at that and gets those shirts ordered at the company that she uses, Bonfire, I think it is. They do a great job.
They do a great job. It's a cool design, a simple but cool design. What's neat about it is, unlike the physical world of T-shirts, and I know Elise runs the T-shirt sales for us. Unlike that, of course, we only had certain styles and certain colors. The Bonfire options, you can get the shirt, the virtual T-shirt, in a bunch of different colors, a bunch of styles. You can get a woman's tank top, men's tank top. You can get, you know, 3/4 sleeve,
purple or black or.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool. They'll be sort of unique and different. So that'll be awesome. I hope everybody goes to the link on our website and does that. And it's also on the event, as well as, you know, consider donating. Again, we didn't have to expend all of our money, but we did lose money this year, waiting for next year. So if you wish to donate, there's a PayPal button on our homepage, and there'll be a Facebook donation button as soon as they process our paperwork also.
So as far as, I have heard from you that our interest from the artist has been quite grand, that it's not going to be possible to highlight all of these artists in just 2 days. Unlike being able just to walk by and sit and chat with them, it takes a little bit more time. So you're saying that we're going to go a little bit longer on this virtual event, which I'm really excited about too. So what do you think is the time frame?
So I don't know, and I think more artists will become interested. It's been a snowball effect as more and more artists are sending me some information. I don't want to just spam the Facebook page, so I'm trying to limit posts to once an hour or so, so that, you know, people don't get overwhelmed by all the posts. So as we go forward, you know, we'll do a bunch this weekend, of course, and then moving into May, and probably until the end of May, we'll have daily or at least regular posts from artists, more interviews as they come available, and hopefully we can get out and about and do some interviews here coming up also, and actually take a look at people's art. So it gives me something to do. I have no problem doing it because I have nothing else to do. So great help.
I have that full-time job thing, and it's really kind of good that, well, because of COVID, work has gone crazy for me because I'm the ESH coordinator at Matrix. So trying to take care of everybody, keep everybody safe, with face masks, you know, being distributed daily for our employees, as well as taking temperatures and doing, you know, my job as the ESH coordinator has just been a lot more than I ever envisioned it to be. prior to this, because besides making sure all of our machines are guarded, all of our equipment is good, our people are doing the right things, wearing the right PPE, I got to make sure that the face masks are being worn properly. So it's kind of twofold for me. I've got nothing to do once I get home, like I normally would, but while I'm at work, I don't have a minute to think about anything else but my job. My boss will be really glad to hear that.
Well, that's good experience. Obviously, we're going to be well prepared for next year in terms of, we already have the commemorative artist. We already have Wickham Park already has our deposit, so the space is
Our
booked.
payment, full payment.
Full payment. We have many artists who are already booked for 2021, so that's pretty exciting.
To be exact.
So it is going to be slightly easier for the committee and the board to put on next year because certain things are already ready, and we've learned a little, but we're not totally there, obviously. So
No.
We'll still need help. And when will the meetings start again? Because we have regular committee meetings every Wednesday at the American Legion, Post 81 on US 1 in downtown Melbourne. They start at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays, and quite honestly, they're a lot of fun because, well, there's a bar at 81. And by the way, they're changing that bar. During this pandemic, they closed down the Post as well as everybody else. And they've used this time to redo their floor. And not just redo their floor, they changed the bar, they changed the whole atmosphere in here. Honestly, when you go into 81, when it finally gets to reopen, you're not going to recognize the place. But the meetings are fun. And when do the regular meetings start again at 81?
September 9th will be our first meeting for the 2021 Planning Organization Committee. So that'll be sent out in an email, as well as we'll post it on Facebook. I would like to ask about Post 81 because they got my post, the post for the post. Is there any way to get that to bring it out to the park today?
The Post. I will contact somebody and see. You never know.
I mean, I would assume that it's still there on the stage.
It is still there on the stage. I don't know if I can get in there, but I'll certainly try to stop by and reach out to somebody.
That would be great. And then I think that we should have our committee appreciation party out there in their grassy area at the Post. They got that bunker out there. Maybe we could get some volunteers to cook hamburgers and hot dogs on their grills and, have our committee appreciation party out there in beautiful sunshine at their event. We could set up some tents. That's a nice big area there.
It is. The bunker, which is open on Thursday nights for bike night, always has not only hamburgers, but fried bologna, as well as sausage and hot dogs and food available. They also do that on Sunday afternoons. So if we wanted to choose a Sunday, we're going to have built-in food there and a lot of fun. And that's a great idea because it is outside. We've just heard that the sunshine kills the corona and warms up your corona beer too, I suppose.
Yeah.
It kills the virus.
And I could make sure we have masks. We have this wonderful mask maker within our board, Miss Martha. She is amazing. We have a few other committee members. I know Elizabeth from the Judges Committee. She's been making masks. I purchased a few from her. And so we could all be safe, and have a really good time once all of this is, when we're allowed to meet, when we can follow the right guidelines for this.
Right. At that phase 2. I have us up on the screen now, the sponsors from last year. We're really proud and excited that all of them would have re-signed up for this year, and probably as long as they have some economic stimulus coming here, hopefully we'll sign up for next year also. But talk to us about the sponsors and how important they are to the Melbourne Art Festival, and how without sponsorship we really wouldn't exist.
No, you're absolutely right. Our sponsors, such as Florida Today, they provide us with the advertising, an in-kind donation, as well as some printing for us. The other Leaf Filter and FIT, Space Coast, and the others, they all provide us with income that we can use to put on the festival. Without their sponsor fee, we couldn't make this happen. Lexus, being our presenting sponsor, provides us with being able to, get all of the production stuff going. That money we use to make the festival happen comes from our sponsors, and as well as from the artist fees. But without the sponsors, we're kind of on our own, and it's not possible to maintain our status and able to put on the high quality event we do without them.
It has to say a lot about the show. I know we had over 40,000 people last year walking, but all of the sponsors re-upped. That means to me that they were getting a lot out of this. They were getting advertisement in our directory, which we print 5,000 of those. We should have done a virtual directory, but that'll come next if we had time. But the directory, they get advertising in that, they get signage, and of course most of them opt to have a booth there, and they also are invited to the Thursday night patron party for VIPs, and you can go into the tent, the virtual tents. Excuse me, it's not a virtual tent. That's what we all have to do now, is have a virtual drink here, but into the VIP tents. So it's really a great deal for them, and obviously, the company with the boats yesterday, the marine industry. I mean, people are climbing all over their boats, including me last year. So people were definitely interested, more than just the art. They're interested in these vendors, and they're interested in some of the other things that we have going on. Talk about the family atmosphere and just how fun it is at the park compared to downtown, especially for families and dogs.
Well, to go back to the downtown space, downtown was amazing for so many years and for so many reasons. But some of the largest complaints we received when I worked on the statistics committee was, why wasn't there more seating, outside seating? Why wasn't there areas for kids to run and play? And so when we moved to the park, I thought, this is amazing. Within the first 3 hours of the show opening up, we've got families sitting on the park benches and all the tables, and the kids are running free. The dogs are on their leashes, thank goodness. And we got just families coming out to see all the art. My grandchildren just went completely nuts. My older daughter, Patricia, she brought out her 3 children and her husband. It was amazing. My grandson, he's seen Elikin Dinez's work. He's a painter. This child, he likes to watch Bob Ross. So when he's seen these paintings, he's like, yeah, that's a good photograph. I said, no, honey, that is a painting. Elikin Dinez is the artist. And Elikin walked out from behind his tent. He was taking care of somebody. And my grandson turned to him and said, oh my God, you're better than Bob Ross, at the top of his lungs. And Elikin about died. I laughed so hard. It just made me feel so good. And here my grandson, who is 10 years old, is just freaking out over this guy's work. So my plan this year was to actually get him a piece of art from Elikin, but I'm going to have to chase him down to do that. My other grandkids, they enjoyed the art festival so much, they each picked a piece from different artists and, walked home with a small print, and they got it hanging in their room, and all they talk about is, when are we going to do the art festival, Mommy? So if my grandchildren feel that way, I'm sure that there's so many other families that are doing the same thing to their parents. When are we going to the park? Where's the festival? And, that's what we wanted, a festival to include all the music, the entertainment, the food, the art, the atmosphere, the camaraderie. It's amazing. I just can't tell you how much I'm excited about next year and where we're going with this year, even virtually. Hopefully the kids will see it online and say the same things.
And we are evolving. We're continually improving and enhancing the experience at Wickham Park, because we've only done 3 of those. This would have been the 4th year at Wickham Park after moving from downtown. A much better environment. I know I camped there. Some good friends of mine who are also patrons grab a campground there, and we have a great time. After the music ends Saturday, we toddle off to the campground and continue to enjoy the art festival from a safe confines and not having to drive. But it's just an incredible experience. I know, as I mentioned earlier, we were planning on having some live entertainment, food court area. Hopefully next year we'll continue that. And like I said, this evening at 5 o'clock, we'll have Sax West, who is slated to be one of those performers live tonight with us via Facebook Live. So we're pretty excited about that.
That patron party looks like it was so much fun.
Oh, it was. You know, and it's important to realize that Lexus was our presenting sponsor. That's Lexus corporate. That was not Lexus of Melbourne. TJ and the great team at Lexus of Melbourne were the ones who offered to host our patrons party. And what a great event. This is part that got me emotional because the draft was on. I've never watched the draft. I haven't been a big person. I did watch it this past couple of days because it's the only thing on. But I remember there was an apprehension because people wanted to watch the draft. Men who are patrons and VIPs and the committee members all wanted. And there it was in Lexus of Melbourne's comfortable lounge. They had the draft live, so everybody could grab a drink, grab some food, and then sit down and watch the draft and talk to TJ Page if they wanted to. What a great time we had! What a great time! Great food, Shaquan and Jenna's, and just all the great food that we have
And look
too.
at all that, all those beautiful people. I mean, I'm just gonna say, you know, that's just awesome. There's my girls, Sandy
Absolute
and
Blue.
Amy, dancing away. Absolute Blue.
The Absolute Brew brought them up on the stage and had them dance, gave them some instruments, some percussion instruments, and they just had a blast. Everyone did. Matter of fact, I think it was supposed to end at 9 or whatever time it's supposed to end. They played for another hour. They were just wonderful.
Oh, that just makes me smile so
And then
much.
we had the photo booth.
Yeah.
They came out for free and let us all do crazy photos and
And
we
they
had
were
a good
scheduled
time.
to do it again too this year. That was
They were
another thing
scheduled
that
to do
was
it again.
already set up. Yeah.
And it's companies, small businesses like that I hope can continue to survive in this pandemic.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, there's no way they can do business right now. They're just sitting around. Same with everybody else. It's super sad what we're having to go through, but we're staying safe. The curve is flattening, and you know we're going on, and virtually at least we'll enjoy the art festival or what we can this weekend and throughout May. Johanna, would you like to say thanks to anybody out there before we end?
Oh yes, I would like to thank the board of directors for our committee. We are all so dedicated, and you know we work hard to make all of the major management decisions for our group of committee members. I'd like to thank the committee members. We've got some amazing committee members. We have about 100, and they participate in so many different ways. And without them, we couldn't do this by ourselves because we're a team. And I'd also like to thank the Brevard Culture Alliance and the TDC for all of their grants and their help in getting us the money for the advertising and the promotion for our festival. I know we write the grants, but it still makes a big difference for us to keep going. They promote us constantly as well as provide us with the promotional information. I'd like to thank Florida Today because, again, they have given us in kind in the past, advertising as well as printing of our promotional materials, which would have cost us a little pretty penny, which without their support, we would be spending money on those things. And then you, Doug and Jen, you guys are awesome. I just can't believe, you know, how you've taken this idea and really run with it. And Jen for her help as well, because her artistic and graphic design have really helped us in so many ways. She got the 5K stuff donated from the printers. She's designed the virtual page event. She's done so many different things. And then I'd like to also thank, I mean, you guys are amazing. And I don't think this would have happened without you. So again, and thank you to your wife for putting up with all of this, because I'm sure just like my husband, he's like, I thought we weren't doing this. why are you all over this? So yeah, and thank you to my husband who has been very patient, very endearing to me to not allow, because that's a horrible thing to say, to be encouraging and supportive of this. Um, Let me see who else I'd like to thank would be all of the community that likes and shares our pages, all of the artists, the 95 artists, and they know who they are, that are staying with us, that are going to be in our show in 2021, that have the faith that we will do the right thing and make sure that they're there, and all of the other artists that were going to be with us and we're still trying to help promote. They're going through a really hard time, and we get that, and that's why we've done what we have. So thank you to them, and they'll apply for next year as well as others. We get inquiries on a daily basis. How do I apply for your show? So we appreciate all of their interaction too. And we can't have an art show, an art festival without the art. So the entertainers that were going to come, all of the hard work everyone put into making this happen is really who I want to thank. So, but you especially, Doug, you're amazing.
Oh no, this has been a lot of fun. It's given me something to do, and I retired late last year and went right into a pandemic, and I was bored already, but now I've got something to do, at least for the next couple of weeks. Johanna, I've got a picture up on the screen right now of Jackson Vaughn.
Oh my goodness, yes. And
Why don't you tell me, talk to us about Jackson. Unfortunately, we lost him this year. Uh, if you would speak a couple moments about Jackson, what he's meant and his family has meant to the art festival, and what he's meant to our community and all of us.
Well, Jackson Vaughn is an amazing man, insane that he lived 105 years. Elise has been his sole caregiver for as long as I've known Elise, and that's been 10, 11 years now, 12 years. And he's just so bright, and his body may fail him, but his mind was there. You could sit down and have a conversation with Jackson about what happened when he was in the war. Talk to him about his business, and he's a lawyer, and he would give you good advice, and he would be able to have a real conversation with you. He liked to have a beer. He liked to go out and get something to eat. He was always with Elise when they would come out, and one heck of a Gator fan, let me just say. Not that I'm a Gator fan, but I appreciate a true Gator fan. So we've, Elise's family and Jackson, their son, Jack, who is no longer with us, he's the one that was part of the original committee for the art festival. So they've always been patrons. They've always promoted it. Elise has been on the committee since its inception, I believe. So she's, that whole family has always been part of this event. And losing Jackson this year was one of the toughest things for all of us, let alone, I'm sure Elise, she's still, reeling in the loneliness, especially with this time that we can't go out and be together, and the support that, you need when you lose your loved one. So it's he's an amazing man. You have spent some time with him, so I'd like to hear some things about you. He got his name on Jackson Vaughn Way at the Post, the 81 Post. So
I was thinking about that. If we do our committee meeting, our committee party there, we'll be under a sign, actually, Jackson Vaughn Way. The Post, he was the oldest living American Legion member at the Post, so they wanted to honor him, and they put a plaque up just earlier this year and had a ceremony for him. And unfortunately, obviously, he passed earlier, and we all miss him terribly. I'm glad he didn't have to slog through this pandemic, but I'm sure he would have been a trooper and fought through it and been good with it, and continued to be humorous and have his stories as the World War II veteran. He was a treasure. He was certainly a treasure, and we'll certainly miss him.
And we really, we pray for the family that, Elise and her brother, and the family, the nieces and nephews and grandchildren, they're all doing well and through all of this hardship that they've gone through so far this year. I pray that they all find a way to cope and deal with the loss of this wonderful man in their lives. Look
I
at all
hope
this.
we all raise a toast to his memory.
Yes, even if it's coffee today.
There you go, even if it's coffee this morning. Well, we're drawing to an end here, but remember, we do have a drive-by today at 2 o'clock. Weather permitting, it doesn't really matter if it's raining
No,
or not.
I'll be out there. I have my umbrella.
We got our umbrella just in case.
Yeah.
And once again, I want to thank you and
Thank you.
everyone who's attending and gave us an opportunity to share with them some of the information on the virtual art festival and some of the history of the art festival. And enjoy your weekend. Not really off, but at least you didn't have to take vacation time.
True. Very true. I wish I was taking vacation. I you know, this is one of my most favorite times of the year. So I'm really kind of bummed that, I'm not able to be out there. And so going today is going to make me feel really good. If nothing else, just being a little selfish to see everybody.
I hope everybody drives by this afternoon, and then and we'll see everybody next year, God willing, for the 36th Melbourne Art Festival, April 23rd and 4th next year, or 24th and 5th, doesn't matter, the fourth weekend of April next year.
Yes.
Fourth full weekend. And hopefully we'll see everybody this afternoon. We'll definitely see you all next year. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you.